Today we want to try and beat every single Pokemon champion, and there is a lot of them, as Team Rocket. Yes, champions, prepare for trouble. We have a quite good selection of Pokemon to do this with, and some actual strong Pokemon like Wobbuffet, although we have a glaring weakness to Psychic and Ground moves. That's the downside. This time, we're switching it up with a few games also, so let's jump into the rules. If a Pokemon faints, it's classed as dead for the rest of the challenge. I won't use any held items or items in battle. I'll use each feature involved if it's available to Team Rocket's team, like Mega Evolution or Z moves. And finally, I won't level past the champion's highest level Pokemon. Also, side note, I won't be playing remakes of the same champion, so if we play Fire Red, we won't play Red. Let's get started. First up is Pokemon Fire Red, and we have the champion for this game, Blue. We have a pretty solid team to start with. Our least useful member is definitely Meowth though. Our lead is Arbok, and he leads with a Pidgeot. We get off an Intimidate even though it does nothing to him, and we strike first with a Rock Slide, smashing Pidgeot for half of his health, and his Aerial Ace feels like a gentle breeze. The next turn, we deal the final blow with another Rock Slide. Goodbye Pidgeot. Next up is Alakazam, and the Psychic is coming. Our switchings are limited, but we have a monster for this, Wobbuffet. He hits a Future Sight, and the next turn he goes for a Psychic. It does nothing though, and we Mirror Coat doing half. He Psychics again, and we Mirror Coat again, but we don't quite get the knockout. We then take the Future Sight attack as well. Blue full restores now, so I set up a safeguard. It takes some time, but Alakazam finally goes down, leaving Wobbuffet a bit bruised, but alive. Arcanine emerges, and our choices are limited. With our fingers crossed, we stay in and survive a flamethrower by the skin of our teeth. Then we send Arcanine packing with a final Mirror Coat. Talk about a close call. Blastoise is up, and we got to switch, so we go into Victory Bell. He hits a weak bite, and then we set up the Sun, as he then goes for a Rain Dance. We then reset up the Sun, and he hits a weak Hydro Pump. I put him to sleep for some weird reason, then I fire off a Solar Beam for the one-hit knockout. Executor is next, but we're faster, and deliver a Sludge Bomb straight to the face, leaving Executor knocked out in a single hit. Rhydon steps up as the final challenger, but with a weakness to grass, our Solar Beam mows him down, securing a victory against Blue. No casualties, thankfully. On to the next champion. We're just getting started. Lance is the champion in Generation 2, and this time we're playing Heart Gold. His team is still insanely scary, and I'm not sure how this is going to go. So his lead is Gyarados, and we lead off with Lickitung. He waterfalls us for nearly half, as our Thunderbolt takes him to only a sliver. We don't quite have the damage to take him down. Lance now full restores him, as we critical hit a Thunderbolt, taking down Gyarados in just a single move. He sends out his level 50 Dragonite now, and I can guarantee you an Outrage is coming. Nothing on our team can safely swap into this monster, so I decide to go for a sacrifice already on our weakest team member, Meowth. Sorry dude, looks like you're blasting off. Now we can swap into Wobbuffet. I'm hoping the next Outrage doesn't kill us. It doesn't, but it still does nearly half, and we can take him out in just one counter. Aerodactyl is his swap in, and it knows Crunch, but it doesn't do anywhere near as much as I thought it would, and our counter obliterates him. Charizard is his fourth Pokemon, and it has a special and physical move it can go for. Luckily, it goes for an Air Slash, as we predict right, and Mirror Coat, but we don't quite take down Charizard. We swap into Arbok, and Lance goes for a full restore. Arbok delivers a devastating Rock Slide though, and Charizard's flames go out. He has 2 remaining Dragonites left now. We stay in with Arbok, and our Rock Slide doesn't quite do half, as he paralyzes us. His Dragon Rush does massive damage, as our Rock Slide takes him to the red. We have to switch here. Looking at my team, I don't really have any answers for swappings to Dragonites. If I get hit now, I'm in the same predicament, so I swap into Wobbuffet for the sacrifice, but Lance full restores, so I could have got off some more damage. Damn. We go down to a Thunder next turn. RIP Wobbuffet, you did great this fight though. We can go into Weezing now, and we know Hidden Power. Dragonite paralyzes us, and we get haxed, so we don't attack. He Dragon Rushes us again for good damage, and we get paralyzed again. Thankfully, he misses his next Dragon Rush, and one Hidden Power obliterates him, leaving only one Dragonite left. Weezing is bulky, and we thankfully live a Dragon Rush on only 22 HP, and we Hidden Power Ice for another one shot. Honestly, our team is messed up now. We lost some good team members too, but I think we had to. Moving on to Gen 3. Pokemon Ruby's champion is Steven. We've swapped out our 2 deaths now with Viper and Dustox. His team has a lot of ground moves and some psychic moves. This might be a rough one. Our best answer to his Skarmory is Lickitung. He misses the Toxic and we flamethrower Skarmory, taking him pretty low. Steven full restores up his Steel Bird and we bring him straight back down. Skarmory decides to be annoying before he goes down and sets up a layer of spikes, so we're going to get hurt when we switch. And down goes Skarmory to another flamethrower. Up next is our Maldo. He ancient powers us and thankfully doesn't get a boost. Our Surf does massive damage again. He throws more rocks at us and we go for a Surf to finish off the ancient bug. Up next is Claydol. He hits an Earthquake, taking Lickitung down to only 12 HP with a critical hit, as our Surf does over half to him. We've got to switch now, so we go into Wheezing on the Earthquake, but he throws rocks at us. Thankfully, we outspeed Claydol and we throw a Shadow Ball at him for the knockout. His next Pokemon is Metagross, and it has Earthquake and Psychic, so nobody on our team is safe. Wheezing's Flamethrower does massive damage to him as his Psychic takes us to only 3 HP and he heals with his Citrus Berry. I know we outspeed, so I want to get rid of this threat immediately, and we take down Metagross with a Flamethrower. We obviously have to switch now on Aggron, and it has a weak special defense stat, so Victory Bell is our choice. We get hit by some spikes and we take a Thunder, but we tank it reasonably well. We hit a Giga Drain for over half and heal back to full, as he Earthquakes us for good neutral damage. One more Giga Drain from Victory Bell though, and we regain most of our HP and take down Aggron. This just leaves Cradilly left. I swap into Viper here as he can't really hurt us. We get confused though, because we're always confused in these runs. Thankfully, we break through and we hit an Iron Tail. It's nearly a one-shot. Cradilly throws some rocks at us. Steven heals up Cradilly, but an Iron Tail brings him all the way back now. Steven heals again and we Iron Tail again. Steven then heals again, it's not fair, and we miss our Iron Tail. We miss our next Iron Tail and he throws some rocks at us. This time he gets a boost, boosting every single one of his stats. He takes down Viper to 12 HP with an Ancient Power and we take him to just under half with an Iron Tail and lower his defense in the process. We have to switch now. We swap into Arbok and he takes an Ancient Power and spikes damage. We outspeed and miss yet again another Iron Tail. We miss again, and Cradilly's nearly took out Arbok as well, but we finally land an Iron Tail and finally take down Cradilly. Why does Steven always have one Pokemon that gives me trouble? Let's move on to our next Gen 3 champion. Wallace is our next champion for Pokemon Emerald. His speciality is water types, but with Victory Bell on our team, I think we have a good shot at dealing with him. So his usual lead is the scary Wailord, and we lead off with our Victory Bell. We set up Sunny Day, and he connects a Blizzard turn 1. This does massive damage to Victory Bell and puts us on only 33 HP. I go for a risky move here and put Wailord to sleep. Thankfully we connect. Then we can Giga Drain Wailord. It has a big HP stat and we take him to the red, so we recover nearly all of our HP. Wallace full restores here and we just take him straight back down with a Giga Drain, meaning one more attack and we deal with Wailord and have full HP. His next Pokemon is Milotic. I go for a Giga Drain and we're doing about half. He hits an Ice Beam to take Victory Bell to only 59 HP. Then his berry activates. This is where I make a massive misplay. I Giga Drain, but after the berries healed him, we don't do enough damage to take him out, so he takes down our Victory Bell with an Ice Beam. That really sucks. We just lost a super good grass type on a water champion. We go into Lickitung and Milotic serves us for nearly half, but we can take it out with a Thunderbolt and avenge Victory Bell. Now is Tentacruel. He's faster and Hydro Pump brings us low as our Thunderbolt does a solid chunk of damage to him, but we need to swap now. I go into Dustox and he Sludge Bombs, but we don't take much damage from it. We outspeed and hit a super effective Psychic to bring him to the red as he misses a Hydro Pump. Wallace full restores him now and we just keep on attacking. We bring him back down to the red and take a little bit more damage on Dustox from Hydro Pumps, but we can take down Tentacruel with not many issues. Whiscash is 4 times weak to grass and the next Pokemon. We have Giga Drain, so we do over half and we restore a lot of HP as he amnesias, raising his special defense. This means he actually lives our next attack on a Sliver and hits off an Earthquake for solid damage. Wallace full restores again and now he's a bit more tanky, so the next few turns are just us Giga Draining and healing off the Earthquake damage. Second to last is Ludicolo. We outspeed this and a Sludge Bomb poisons him as he does the usual double team. We connect our next Sludge Bomb and that makes quick work of our dancing friend. This leaves only Gyarados left. We do not want it to set up, so we swap straight into Arbok to get off the Intimidate to lower his attack, as he does in fact go for a setup in Dragon Dance, so we negate the attack boost. He hits an Earthquake for a hefty chunk of Arbok's HP as our Rock Slide takes him down, beating Wallace and beating Generation 3. Let's move on to Gen 4. Cynthia is the champion here, and she has a strong team with a lot of coverage. We swapped out Victory Bell for Carnivine, and we now have Chimecho on our team over Survivor. So her lead is Spiritomb as always, and we lead off with Carnivine. A Power Whip brings her to the red as her Silver Wind does nearly half to us. This means Cynthia uses a full restore now, and we just take her back down with another Power Whip. We then finish off Spiritomb with a Bug Bite. This now brings in Togekiss. We swap to Licky Tongue on the Air Slash, then she hits an Aura Sphere, putting us on only 14 HP as our Thunderbolt does not even do half, but we get the Paralyze. We swap to Arbok, and thankfully she gets paralyzed and can't attack us. We hit a Rock Slide and just miss out on the knockout, so Togekiss hits a Psychic doing massive damage to Arbok. We hit a Rock Slide now and get the knockout on Togekiss. This now brings out Garchomp. We can swap to Weezing on the Earthquake, but he actually goes for a Dragon Rush instead. He luckily misses his next Dragon Rush as our Hidden Power Ice destroys him. She then swaps into Ludicaro on our next Hidden Power. Our next move is to swap into Chimecho to eat the Psychic attack. Lucario then goes for a Dragon Pulse, and I set up a Calm Mind, raising our special attack and special defense. We take another Dragon Pulse and take out Lucario with just one Psychic. She then brings out Roserade, but we outspeed it, so one super effective Psychic, and down goes Roserade also. Garchomp is now back out, and I really don't have a switch in. Everything dies to this thing. I swap to Dustox, and he goes for a Dragon Rush for over half. I then go back into Weezing thinking he might Earthquake, but he doesn't. I can't swap again, but thankfully he misses Dragon Rush and we take him down, leaving only Milotic left. Our team is absolutely destroyed, so we have to sacrifice something. Dustox falls now to a Surf. We go into Chimecho, we hit an Energy Ball for okay damage as the Surf brings us to only a sliver of HP. We get off a little bit more chip damage before Chimecho falls too after putting in some amazing work versus Cynthia. We go into Arbok now and we go for a Bite. Thankfully we get a critical hit, taking down Milotic and beating Cynthia. We lost 2 Pokemon this fight, but we managed to get the win. This was a pretty rough one to do. Let's head on to Gen 5 now. First up in Generation 5 is Alder, and like Cynthia, he has a wide range of Pokemon with good type variety. We've now swapped out our Dustox and Chimecho for Amoonguss and Frillish. So we lead off with Arbok into a Selgor. His Bug Buzz does nothing to us as we resist it, and our Fire Fang takes him out in just one attack. So he sends out Bufalon next, and I go into Weezing expecting an Earthquake, so it does nothing. We outspeed him and hit a Flamethrower, but it doesn't do too much damage to him, and his Head Charge does a solid amount back to Weezing. So I swap into Amoonguss on the incoming Head Charge, and that's when I realised it's got Sap Zipper, so Grass Moves won't do a thing. So this then gives me a free swap into Frillish. We dodge a Stone Edge luckily, and then he connects one the following turn, doing massive damage as our Scald takes him to the red. Alder's going to full restore here, so I go for a Scald again, and we burn him, lowering his attack. This means we now take a Stone Edge pretty decently, and can recover most of our HP. He hits another Stone Edge and activates our ability Curse Body, so we disable that move. His Earthquake is doing nothing to us, and we finish him off with a Scald. Next up, Druddigon. I swap into Amoonguss, and he hits an Outrage that takes us to 38 HP, but Effect Spore poisons him. We go into Arbok now for the Intimidate, and his Outrage still does a good chunk of damage, but he's now poisoned and confused. We swap into Weezing, and luckily he hits himself in confusion, so a Hidden Power Ice takes him to only a sliver of HP as we take still big damage from an Outrage, before Druddigon finally succumbs to the poison damage. Escavalier is up next, but is 4 times weak to fire, and I know we outspeed, so one Flamethrower from Weezing takes him down. Now Volcarona. Our team is starting to take a hefty amount of damage, so I swap into a fresh Licky Tongue as he goes for an Overheat, reducing his special attack by 2 stages. So we can now swap into Frillish as he lowers his special attack again by another 2 stages, and Volcarona starts setting up Quiver Dances, as it can't hurt Frillish. We just chip away with Skulls. We start to do less and less damage thanks to his special defense boost, but he never attacks us, so down goes Volcarona. This leaves only Vanillix left. He sets up a Reflect, and we critical hit a Dark Pulse for over half. He hits Frillish with a Flash Cannon, and Curse Body disables it. He then goes for an acid armor to boost his defense as we keep chipping away at him. He hits the blizzard and freezes us. This is really not good. Looking at our Pokemon, we have nothing that wants to die. Our only swap in is Carnivine now. Thankfully, he just goes for a light screen. He then goes for a blizzard, but misses, meaning we can take him out with a bug bite. That was a close call. I thought we were possibly going to lose someone there. Let's move on to our next champion. Iris is our next champion, and the majority of her Pokemon are dragons. This has the possibility of being quite hard. So she leads with Hydreigon, and the Dragon Pulse does about half to Lickitung, but our Ice Beam does a hefty amount to the three-headed beast. So after surviving another Dragon Pulse on only 40 HP, we can take out the first of her dragons. Up next is Druddigon, and we've got to switch. I go into Weezing, and he flamethrowers, doing about 50 damage. The next turn, our Hidden Power Ice does half to him. His next flamethrower brings us to the yellow, and our Hidden Power Ice now gets a low roll, and we don't take him out, so a flamethrower brings Weezing to only 6 HP. Iris will full restore now, so we are safe to Hidden Power again. We need to switch though, so we go into Frillish, and a Rock Slide does huge damage to us, but it activates our Cursed Body, so we disable it. We can go for Recover now and recover quite a bit of HP, but his Dragon Tail does another huge chunk to us, and we're forced into Carnivine. I go for a Crunch, and he flamethrowers us for a lot of damage, so the following turn we can take it out with another Crunch. Lapras comes out, but it's a one-shot to a Power Whip, so we take it down for the one-hit knockout. Haxorus is next, and it's got a Focus Sash. I'm looking at my team, and we don't have anything that wants to take a hit, so I make the sad decision to let Carnivine rest and sacrifice him to a Dual Chop. This gives us a swap to Amoonguss. An Earthquake does a bit of damage, and we Spore to put him to sleep. We then Giga Drain to top off our HP, and he wakes up. He takes us back down, but I predicted that he'd wake up, and we Spore again. We then get off his Synthesis and bring him to the red while we're pretty healthy. Haxorus wakes up and Dragon Dances, but we put him back to sleep and Giga Drain for the knockout, giving us a healthy Amoonguss going forward. Aggron is 5th and double edges us for decent damage, but we put him to sleep as well, and we Giga Drain him and it's doing over half to him. He wakes up turn 1 though, and our next Giga Drain takes him out and puts Amoonguss at around half for Archeops. This thing is a problem right now. It knows Acrobatics, and that's going to demolish Amoonguss, so we swap into Arbok to Intimidate, as an Acrobatics takes us to half. We have to chance a crit here and activate its ability to defeat us, so we get hit, survive on only 11 HP and connect a Rock Slide, bringing him to 25%. Our whole team is in trouble right now. I want to go to Amoonguss, but I can't risk him going for an Acrobatics. I need him for the future games. So we go into Frillish, and I'm glad, as Archeops did in fact go for an Acrobatics, so we lose another Pokemon. Rest easy, my friend. But now we can go safely into Amoonguss, tank a Dragon Claw, and Giga Drain for the knockout. This puts a death toll at 7 Pokemon as we move on to Generation 6. Gen 6, and we have Diantha as the champion. We filled the void left by Frillish and Carnivine with Inkay and Gaugeist. Her lead is Hawlucha, and we lead off with Arbok. We Intimidate, lowering his attack by 1 stage, and Hawlucha can't actually touch us. His flying presses do nothing, even after he Swords Dances. So we set up a coil that boosts our attack, defense, and accuracy. So we set up to practically max attack on this Hawlucha. We're close to half HP, and now we can start attacking. We one-hit knock out Hawlucha with a Poison Jab. We practically outspeed our whole team as well. So out next is Tyrantrum, the T-Rex. One Ice Fang obliterates it and sends it back to its friends. Aurorus, the Ice Dinosaur, is next, and a Poison Jab doesn't quite get the knockout, and it just sets up a Reflect, boosting his team's defense. Diantha now full restores the Ice Dinosaur, and we go for a Crunch, still doing half. So our next Crunch takes down Aurorus. 4th is Gudra. It's weak to ice, but it's got good bulk and it's got a Reflect up, so it lives in Ice Fang and brings Arbok to only 44 HP with a Dragon Pulse. Diantha full restores, and we hit another Ice Fang to bring it all the way back down. Reflect now wears off, so we can take down Gudra. Now it's time for Gaugeist, but as is tradition, it fails to connect a single hit on us and dies to a single Ice Fang. Maybe next time, Gaugeist. This leaves her final Pokemon, Gardevoir. She Mega Evolves, but it won't get the stats until the next turn if I remember correctly, so we outspeed, and a super effective Poison Jab gives Arbok the clean sweep over Diantha and Generation 6. It's time to sail to Alola. How is the person we fight to become champion here in Alola? And now we have a Mimikyu on our team. For some reason, the start of the fight has been corrupted, but basically, Galgeist dealt with Raichu with 2 Shadow Sneaks. This baited an Incineroar. We then swapped to Mimikyu on the Inferno Overdrive, and Disguise eats it. Then we play rough, swap into Arbok. We eat the Flare Blitz, that puts us on 53 HP, and then we Earthquake for the knockout. This puts us where we are now. So it's Arbok versus Tauros. We swap on the Earthquake to Weezing, who is immune, and now we get hit for a double edge, doing nearly half of a critical hit. We then fire off a Sludge Bomb, and on the next double edge, we swap to Galgeist. We then eat an Iron Head pretty well and take out Tauros with a Seed Bomb. Crabominable is out, and an Ice Hammer is going to do big damage to something. We don't have a switch in for it, so I choose to go for a burn and reduce his attack stat by half and let Galgeist fall to the Ice Crab. Our Galgeist put in work this fight, unlike Dianthus. We swap to Lickitung and he Ice Hammers. Even when burned, it does nearly half, and this is why I had to sacrifice. We hit a Flamethrower for a good chunk of damage, and then we outspeed thanks to the drop in his speed and Flamethrower him for the knockout. Leafeon is next and hits a Leaf Blade, nearly taking out Lickitung, but we survive and Flamethrower Leafeon. We swap to Weezing here, and Hal decides to full restore and heal up, but Leafeon can't touch us. He Baby Doll's Eyes us, but this doesn't affect us in the slightest, and a Sludge Bomb takes down Leafeon. This just leaves Noivern. It hits a Dragon Pulse, bringing us to 17 HP, and our Hidden Power Ice critical hits him, taking down Noivern and making us champion of Alola. It's time to move to the Switch games. First up is Trace from Let's Go Pikachu. His Pokemon only have 3 moves, but he's got a good type variety and a Mega. We unfortunately only have 3 Pokemon though for this fight. His lead is Pidgeot, and we lead off with Lickitung. We have really good AVs in this game, so it really shouldn't be a problem. He Mega Evolves, but we are faster, so we destroy Pidgeot with a single Thunderbolt. Vileplume is out next, and an Ice Beam brings him to the red as he sets up a Reflect, boosting his team's defense. Trace now heals Vileplume with a full restore, but our Ice Beam is still doing massive damage, so the next turn we can take down Vileplume with a super effective Ice Beam. Marowak is his third Pokemon, but we outspeed this thing too, and it hit a Surf. This takes down Marowak in just a single attack as well. Rapidash meets the exact same fate as Marowak and dies to a single Surf too for a one-hit knockout. Honestly, we are way too powerful in these games. Jolteon lives a Flamethrower at just over half, but we dodge a Thunder. We Flamethrower again and take out Jolteon, leaving his last Pokemon Slowbro. But we have Thunderbolt, so a super effective Thunderbolt takes down Slowbro, giving Lickitung a sweep over Trace. The Let's Go games are pretty easy, but I did have like extremely good special attack and speed AVs. I'll take the sweep anyway when we have 3 Pokemon. Let's move on to Generation 8. The champion for Sword and Shield is Leon. His team is really strong too. We now use a Mareanie, Morpeko, and a Woobat. We're running out of Pokemon as well, so let's give him a try. So our lead is Weezing into Aegislash. We hit a Dark Pulse for close to half, and we get the flinch. Aegislash then goes for a King Shield the next turn, protecting himself. So the third turn we Dark Pulse again, but we just miss out on the KO, and it fires off its Shadow Ball and does a great amount of damage to us. We then finish off the Aegislash with a Dark Pulse. He sends out Haxorus next, and I forgot Weezing is available in Scarlet and Violet thanks to the DLC, and I let Weezing go down. A huge misplay there again. He's been solid for us this whole run. Rest in peace, Weezing. You've been great. We send out Lickitung next, and he outrages us doing massive damage, and we fire off an Ice Beam. Close to half, but we get the freeze. This is exactly what we need. We Ice Beam again, and that lets us take down Haxorus. Lickitung's time has finally come, and we let this thing now go down to Dragapult. We don't really have much to deal with him anyway. I need more Peckle for Charizard, so we're going to have to try some stuff here. So we go into Mareanie, and he Thunderbolts us. We live it and fire off an Ice Beam for close to half. We have the ability Regenerator, so when we swap out, we regain HP. So we swap into a Mungus, nicknamed Kabuto, as always, and we eat the Thunderbolt. We then get hit by a Flamethrower, and we tank it reasonably well, and we Toxic Dragapult, putting it on a timer. So now we can Synthesis stall. I make another slight misplay here, and I go for a Sludge Bomb to take it out, rather than just healing off the damage and letting it go down to poison. So Amoonguss picks up another kill, but at the cost of losing more HP. Mr. Rhyme is out now, and we've got to switch. So I go into Mareanie, expecting an Ice move, but he actually goes for a Psychic, and there is no way we live this, so that's another death to Leon. This is getting rough. We go into our Woobat, and we need some luck now. It's a 3v3. We Air Slash, and he Teeter dances, confusing us, because we're always confused. We actually break through the confusion and hit an air slash, flinching him. We break through the confusion again and air slash flinch him again. We hit ourselves in confusion now though, and a freeze dry demolishes Woobat. This leaves us with just a Morpeko and a weak Amoonguss left. We send out Morpeko and we hit an Aura Wheel though to finish off Mr. Rhyme and raise our speed. So now we outspeed his last two Pokemon. Inteleon comes out and now it's time to Dynamax. We're in Hangry mode so we don't have an electric move, but we have a grass move, so after Dynamaxing we can fire off a Max Overgrowth and this one hit knockout the Inteleon. This leaves only Gigantamax Charizard left. We're very close to losing this run here. Thanks to our speed boost and switching to full belly mode, we can go for a Max Lightning and this does enough damage to destroy Leon's Gigantamax Charizard and beats Generation 8. We've lost a lot of Pokemon so far going into the last games. Thankfully, Jessie and James kept up with Ash in the anime and catching Pokemon, so we've had a lot to go through. Let's move on to the final games, Scarlet and Violet. The last champion is Jita. We have a full team now consisting of some new faces in Yanmega and Cacnea and old ones like Mimikyu and Seviper. Her lead is Espartha and we lead with our Mimikyu. We have the ability Disguise so we can take a hit for free and set up a Swords Dance. She hits a Lumina Crash and breaks our Disguise as we are now at a +2 attack, so a super effective Shadow Claw takes down Espartha with no problems. However, setting up wasn't the best idea, as her next Pokemon she sends out is King Gambit. We do a solid chunk of damage with a Play Rough, but his Iron Head is way too strong, and he takes down Mimikyu, adding him to the death list. We send out Cacnea now, and Cacnea outspeeds King Gambit, and a low kick takes him down. The loser is Jita's next Pokemon, and it outspeeds Cacnea and hits an Ice Fang, but Cacnea holds on and fires off a Seed Bomb for the one-hit knockout. Avalugg is next, and we won't take it out, but we hit a low kick for nearly half before an Avalanche claims Cacnea. We send out Yanmega and throw rocks at the ice slabs, and that gives us a knockout. Go-Go is Jita's next Pokemon. We Bug Buzz for close to a knockout, but he survives and only goes for a Bulk Up. So the next turn we can take down Go-Go with a final Bug Buzz. This leaves her last Pokemon, Glimora. She terrestrializes into a pure rock type, and we Bug Buzz for just over half. For some reason, Glimora goes for a Sludge Wave rather than a rock move, and with that decision she sealed her fate, and Yanmega takes down Glimora with a Bug Buzz, winning the run and beating every single Pokemon champion with only Team Rocket's Pokemon. So our total death count was 14. That's an insanely high number. This run was actually pretty challenging, but luckily in Team Rocket's weaknesses, their strength was having a wide variety to choose from. Otherwise we would have been in a lot of trouble. I'm sure I could have played better at some points, and I'm trying to improve on saving Pokemon. As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Pokemon content. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.